Lovely to see you. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for coming in and joining me for another chat. And our Movember specials of Live at 5 are continuing throughout the month. So if you've missed any, you can check them out on YouTube. And the links of the IGTVs are, of course, available on my channel at Coaching the Man. But they are also available on YouTube, as will this be if you didn't quite manage to catch it all. So another week has passed. Mo is growing very well and not yet got to the point where it is itching, which is good, I suppose. But I guess by the time we get to the 30th of November, this will probably be ready to just get gone. So if you are growing a Mo for Movember, thank you for doing that. And if you've donated, thank you. There is a link below where you can click and donate money for Movember, and anything helps because it's a great charity. It's a great movement. It's a great way of having a conversation about not just your health, but also your mental health, your physical health. And we can also have the opportunity to talk about suicide prevention awareness because it is really, really important. That is the pandemic of our time, is that. So we are going to do that all in this little chat, as today I am joined and I'm very grateful for today's guest because Eoin is joining me whilst in the midst of that, in the eye of the storm, maybe you might say. So I'm really excited that he has come on to chat with me for Live at 5 today. So let's bring him in. Eoin.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's good to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. It's really, 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 really grateful. I am really grateful. It's really admirable that you're doing this. And power to the testicular cancer, but we'll get to that in just a moment. I want to start. I think I know what you're going to say, but how are you?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, not too bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but
Okay.
I'm only the first couple of weeks in, so got a bit of a break now till next Tuesday. So
Yeah,
it's kind of up and down. You're just more tired. It's weird not being your normal self. That's
yeah.
the kind of weird part.
It's
So
also interesting identifying that, like, and just being suddenly aware that, oh, I'm just knackered all the time now.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it's just kind of it's weird, going for a walk with the dog and then being like, oh, I got to cut this walk short because I'm just starting to feel it. And the dog's looking at you going like, no, we're out for our walk. And it's like, no, it's only a 30-minute one today. So
Yeah. What about,
about it.
but we normally go up there and you're like, nah, not now. We won't make it there.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's just getting used to it though. I think just more like trying to figure out like hydration and what to not to eat too much. You can feel nauseous if you eat too much and stuff like that. So just trying to figure out, like, before I would just like eat and drink whenever I wanted. Now it's kind of like, no, just have a small amount of breakfast, go for a walk, then have lunch later. You can't like just have two portions and be grand. You just kind of
Yeah.
feel it now. So
You just be like super aware of what it is that your body needs at that moment in time to do what it needs to do, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The hydration is definitely a big thing. I'm noticing that a lot. If you let yourself get dehydrated, you really feel it. So
Right. Yeah. So can we just take a little brief leap back, because it's not actually that far that we need to go, but I'm sure there are a lot of people in your small circle of friends that are aware of you going through this journey. But tell us what happened.
basically, I think the first time I noticed it was in June. I drove to Kerry and we had an Airbnb, and I just said, I'm really like sore after that drive. I didn't notice, just thought maybe I injured myself in work or something like that. So kind of ignored it, went back to work regularly. The pain just got more and more. It was a dull pain to a point that it was just a very harsh pain that you couldn't like change gear with the left foot. Like using the clutch was like preparing yourself to change gear was quite painful. So my wife was just like, you should go and get checked out. And I was like, it's probably nothing. I think I just injured myself, or I've got a kidney infection. That's what I was convinced. So just booked an appointment with the doctor. He was like, looks like an infection, but I'll send you for an ultrasound just to make sure. So did the ultrasound, results came back, and he goes, yeah, there's something there. Doesn't
Okay.
look good. Definitely looks like a tumor. So I'm going to refer you to the hospital. So referred to Vincent's then, and pretty much was with the doctor on a Friday, was in Vincent's meeting the urologist on a Monday or a Tuesday. And he was like, you're getting that. There's a tumor there. We're taking that testicle out. And pretty much a week and a half later, I was in surgery and had it removed. So
That's so quick, isn't it?
yeah, so it was definitely
As soon as you took action, that it suddenly just starts. Like you just like
yeah,
straight into it, no messing. And this is what I think people don't realize. When you have something and you go and it's actually a legitimate issue that needs to be looked at, nobody messes around. They're just like, right, in, out, let's do it. We know what we need to do in this moment. But the hardest part for you was getting to the point of actually going and having it checked, right?
yeah, because I just so had a half day on the Friday in work, and my wife was like, see if they've got availability in the GPs. I was like, nah, it's probably not. And she was like, just do it. If she didn't make me do it, I think I just wouldn't have gone to the GP.
Yeah.
And the swelling then did go down, because I said that to the GP. Why did the swelling go down? He's like, I don't know. Maybe your body was just trying to tell you there's something wrong. But it went back to normal. But he was like, we've already done the scan, so we already see that there is a tumor there.
Yeah.
So luckily, I had gone in on the Friday and done it. Otherwise, it would have gone unnoticed, because I never, even when I went in with the urologist, I still couldn't feel the tumor.
Right.
It was at the back of my testicle, so I could never actually find it. So even checking, I would never have found it. It's only the CT or the ultrasound that made me aware there was something there. And even with the GP, I was going like, yeah, but not really cancer. It's probably just an infection. He was like, no, it's pretty sure, 90%. I was like, but 10%, it could be an infection. He was like, you're not getting this. So,
we are already getting an element of what it's like to be Eoin Watchorn, is that optimism. And I love it. And it's been there from the start. Since we started talking about it, it's been there. And this is what I love. And this is what helps the whole process. And this is why I feel so comfortable in the knowledge that you were just going to be fine, and have always felt that from the moment. So I'm really delighted to see that, because I know it comes from a real place and you're a naturally positive person. But again, it's important that we kind of identify that you had something that went wrong and you did something about it. However you managed to get there, you did something about it. I was lucky enough to feel my tumor. I didn't get to the point of having the swelling. I just felt it. But for geography's sake, are you now lefty free or righty free? What one was it?
lefty free, yeah.
So
the left is gone. I've just got all the room now. It's great. I actually love it. There's way more room. It's great. You never sit in yourself anymore. So
it's open plan living for everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have definitely found that we definitely enjoy looking for the humor in the tumor, don't we? So we're here for a ball pun. So you went and you had surgery. What was the process of actually realizing, holy crap, had you ever had any surgery before, or was that quite a scary process?
Probably like literally 5 minutes before the general anesthetic. That's when I realized that I was definitely going to have surgery. So I was fine, right up, everything grand, going into the hospital, getting into the gown, all that sort of stuff. I was like, oh, it's like the movies, you know? And then literally just before the general anesthetic, they give you a run off of like all the things that could happen. And you go, oh, this is kind of serious actually.
Yeah.
And then they put you under and you wake up and you're like, what the hell happened? Like 4 hours has gone by and I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And you're just in the recovery room and they're like, everything went great. No problem, you know, you're going to come around now. It might be a bit of soreness. They were like, you might not eat, you might feel a bit nauseous, all this sort of stuff, but that never happened. I literally came to them like, what time's the meal time? I'm starving. And they were like, we'll get you some food right now. So that's a good sign. So just came to straight away. It was grand.
I remember coming back from anesthetic and they gave, now I am a tea-aholic, like I'm a connoisseur, you might say, and I like my tea strong with not very much milk. Anyway, they handed me this milky tea with sugar in it, and I swear to God, still under a little bit of anesthetic, it was the nicest thing I ever drank. It was literally like elixir. I was like, this is amazing. But one thing I did realize afterwards, I was like, there was this woman walking around in the recovery unit, and I was still kind of a little bit groggy, like drinking this tea. And still to this day, I'm convinced she wasn't really there. I was like, I just saw this woman walking around. And I was like, what a buzz.
Yeah, there's definitely bits that I don't remember. I look back on messages that I sent. I don't remember sending them. Like the worst part was the urologist came up to tell me everything what happened, and then he left the room, and I don't remember what he said. I still to this day don't remember what he said. He was like,
Wow.
so it's just that sort of weird feeling. I remember they moved us in rooms as well. I don't remember moving the rooms. So people didn't know my name, and I'd be like, oh, I never met you before. And they were like, no, we met earlier. So the general anesthetic is definitely weird, all right. Just kind
Yeah.
of, it's like been, I don't know, going out on the lash or something like that. You wake up with the fear.
Yeah. I kind of want to touch on you're obviously really positive, and we talked about this before, that actually it's so much easier when you're going through it, when you know what's going on for you 100% of the time. You put all your trust in the medical people. What has it been like to have that? You mentioned your wife earlier on was the driving force behind getting you checked. What was the general feeling around you of like your inner circle? Like I call them the ball squad, but all of those people around you, what was that like for you to have to go through that with them around you?
Yeah, it's only in the last while that I've kind of, like last couple of days, that I've told people.
Mm.
Before it was just Sarah, my wife, and my parents, and a few of the guys I work with. That's kind of all the people knew what was going on. But just mostly positivity and kind of, all positivity really. But yeah, it was kind of, my dad. So my dad would be very kind of, it was like just getting a job done. If you don't dwell, don't talk, just get in there, get it done, sort it out, be grand. Like, so I kind of go with the way he is. There's
Yeah.
no, like, if I kind of say, oh, what if it doesn't work? He's like, no, don't, what? That's not going to happen. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah.
And then the same with my wife of that, just kind of, she's already slagging me today, saying like I'm a drama queen with the nausea. She's like, it can't be that bad. And I'm kind of glad she's like that. Instead of
Yeah.
being running around chasing after me, she's like, it's not, just make sure you have some water and take your anti-nausea. It can't be that bad. And I'm like, yeah, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's in my head and I'm feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And then you feel better than that way. So, but yeah, no, like all the positive messages lately, now that I put it up on Instagram last week, and then just got loads of messages from everyone, like from school and stuff like that from years ago. You don't even talk to the guys anymore.
Yeah.
And that's good. That like makes you feel good as well, just knowing everyone's kind of behind you and stuff. So,
and that takes courage. That does take courage to do that. And I think, I commend you for it. I did it myself. It's really hard, but it comes back and it pays back in dividends. And you're also raising awareness for other people to just go, get yourself checked.
The only reason I did it is because I thought it was a funny joke. They gave me all the reading material, and I just thought, like, for someone who's in work right now, it was a Monday, for them to go, oh, fucking Monday, like, this is my worst Monday ever. I was like, no, I've got the worst Monday ever, and just to send that, just to be like, that's kind of funny. That's the only reason I did it. And then, then it just hit, it went crazy.
I see your Monday, and I raise you a dose of chemotherapy. I love how you talk about your dad being the way he is, because the minute I told my dad that I'd been to the doctor and they thought that I had testicular cancer and they needed to move on to sort it out, he was like, okay, well, just relax. I was like, no, Dad, I'm relaxed. Like, I think you need to relax. But like, that is, our dads are very similar. They know each other. They're cut from the same cloth. They're very just get it in, get it done, get out. You'll be grand. You'll be healing. You'll be fine.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
military man.
He's glad to have something to do. Giving me the lift in, and he feels like he's actually been able to do something. Yeah. The one day he didn't give me a lift in, I was grand. It was after the surgery. I wanted to do blood tests, and I went in, did the blood test, and I came back. And he was like, I'll give you a lift. Don't worry about it. I was like, no, it's fine. It's just blood tests. You'll be wasting your time. I drove back to my apartment. I was in the underground car park, and I reversed into the most expensive car in the whole car park. And he was just like, that's my fault. I should have brought you in. So
damn it.
It was minor damage in the end. I knew the guy and it was grand. We sorted it out. But it was just him going, no, I'm bringing you in every day, regardless. So
yeah. Well, listen, it's only metal. Like that's the reality. So moving on from the surgery, you recovered from that. How long was it from? How long? I think it's about. Mine was about 5 weeks, but you've started chemotherapy. So how long was the gap between having the surgery and realizing I have to move on to have something else done?
It was about 5.5 weeks, I'd say. I was about 5.5 weeks done. I had to meet the oncologist, which I definitely thought was just going to be we're going to keep an eye on you. We'll screen you from now on. I didn't think it was going to be chemo. I maybe a little bit thought it was going to be that, but I was going in preparing myself to just go back to full time and work and everything. And he was like, there's a slight increase in one of your lymph nodes. All the signs are there telling me that you should just do a couple of rounds of chemo just to make sure it's gone. No point in me sending you out now to have to do more rounds of chemo in 6 months when we scan you again. He's like, it's on the left side. Everything is telling me that it's spread. So I just said, right, fine, whatever we need to do, let's just do that. So I didn't know it would be as long. It's 9 weeks of chemotherapy and potentially 2 months of recovery time. Okay. So it's a long time off work. I love my job and I love going to work. So I'm definitely missing that right now. So to me, that's the first. I wasn't thinking about the chemo. I was just thinking I'm missing out on, like, you know, autumn time's kind of my favorite time in work, and then there's a bit of stuff to do in January, February, and I kind of like doing that as well. So I was like, I'm missing out on all of this. So that's what I've been thinking about, and not thinking about it towards like the chemo, just thinking about it towards what I'm missing out on.
Yeah. But also your job is quite active because you're outside, you're in nature, and then you get told you can't do that.
Yeah, that was the thing. Even in the hospital, the last 5 days, it was like a room inside a room inside a room. So it's all aircon with no open windows. So I was just trying to get outside as much as I can to breathe in outdoor air. I just need to be outside. So I was disappearing off. They were like, "Are you off for your 3 hours?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gone. Give me a call. You have my mobile number. Call me when you're ready to do the chemo. I'll be outside." Even if it was raining, I'd just be walking around outside going, it's just nicer to be outside than to be stuck in that room. So, it's definitely tough being in there.
Can I ask you, a lot of people, I mean, my process, well, we were quite confident and really hoping and very, you know, optimistic about you getting to the point where your testicle, your orchidectomy would have been the end of it, and it would have been just moving on to monitoring in the same way mine was. And I always hope that for people because it was such an easy process. But you had to go on and have this chemotherapy because of the lymph node, etc. What was the feeling attached to being told you have to have chemo? Because a lot of people will hear that, and like the word cancer, chemotherapy ignites this feeling within people, and they think of things on a scale from minor to severe. So what was it for you?
First, when he told me straight away, it was just kind of, okay, when do you want me in for? Because I just have this thing where if it's going to be bad, then let's do the first step to get it done. I was just kind of, I don't want to hang around. I just want to get in and get it done, get my body used to it. Maybe halfway through it won't be as bad. Maybe the first week is the worst week. I'm not too sure yet. It's been okay. But definitely like not a fear of it, more of a like, just, I want to get it. So you're telling me 9 weeks. So that'll be just after Christmas. Okay. Can I come in next week? And he's like, I'll probably have a bed for you next week. Yeah. So that's all I was thinking straight away, was just to get the process started so that come January, hopefully we're just kind of going, that was a bit crappy, but it's done. And we're moving on now. So that's kind of the gear I shift into, is just to get it finished. So
just treat it like a contract. And what's great is, I mean, you're a week in, you've got the nausea, you've got all sorts of, you know, different things like hydration and stuff being an issue, and you've still got your hair. So, you know, I think people assume that as soon as somebody like whispers chemotherapy into your face, your hair just fucking flies off. But that's not the case. Everybody's body activates and responds differently.
I think they said about 3 weeks in, I should start losing the hair then. So but so far I'm only 2 weeks. I did Monday to Friday last week. I did yesterday for 1 day. Now I'll have nothing till next Tuesday, and then nothing again till the following Monday, but I'll be back in hospital for another 5 days in hospital. So I'd say by the time I'm back in for that 5 days, I'll probably start to lose the hair then. But it doesn't bother me. It'll come back as well. Like, it's fine. So
you were saying to me the other day that your dad's a bald man, and your brother is following in his footsteps, but you're quite optimistic that your hair's going to come back and his won't.
Well, that he's pretty annoyed at that because I was saying I was getting a lift the other day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be going bald," and he kind of looked at me wide eyed. He's like, "You're going bald," and I went, "Yeah, well, with the chemo," and he kind of went, "Yeah, but it'll fucking grow back though, won't it?" Like, he's a fucking prick, like.
Always thinking about himself, Brian. Always. Yeah, well, it will, and you will be well. But it's just a shame that it's happening at the coldest time of the year, where you want to keep your head warm.
Yeah, so I don't know. As I approach 35, the back hair is getting bad too. So maybe I could do with losing a bit. So,
Well, see, there you go again, looking for the silver lining on every cloud, every cloud. So the process of chemo is going to take you up until January, and you're hopefully, fingers crossed. Do you get any checks within that time, or did they just run the chemo right to the end and then figure out what they've got left?
they're like, what do you mean checks as in health wise, what it's doing to me
Yeah.
and stuff?
So do they monitor you along the way?
Yeah, so before I went in on Monday, they made me do a lung and a hearing test because apparently it affects your hearing and your lungs. So they actually found scar tissue on my right lung, which they think might be something to do with my work environment through a fungus. They're like, you're definitely around funguses all the time. I was like, yeah, a lot of different mushroom. And they were like, that's probably from that, but it's old. So they were like, we're going to retest you maybe halfway through the chemo to make sure it's not affecting your lungs. And if it is affecting my lungs, they'll just kind of bring the dose down and extend the chemo a little bit longer. They will still do it. It's just they want it to not affect me as bad. And the same with the hearing.
Yeah.
So they're asking me constantly, am I noticing anything with my hearing or anything like that? And just to keep an eye on myself and see if I'm noticing. But even like today, you can definitely feel it. It affects your body. Like today I was watching TV and the left eye literally, or the right eye, just literally went all blurry and just was like not working for a sec and then just came back. And then the left ear kind of went a bit fuzzy for a while and then came back as well. So you can definitely feel there's something foreign in your body and it's not like it's not working the way it normally works.
Yeah. And is that the most obvious feelings of symptoms that you've had since you started it?
No, the most obvious is the tiredness and the nausea. The nausea is not too bad, but the tiredness would be definitely one. Like, or the like going to sleep. You don't normally I sleep pretty well, 8 hours every night. At the moment you're doing 3 hours and waking up with kind of weird dreams and then going back to sleep for another 3 hours, more weird dreams. So it's just, I think it's just because there's definitely a poison in my body and it's just waking me up. It's nothing crazy dreams, just kind of waking up and going, that was odd, and then it takes you a while to go back to sleep. It was the same when I was in the hospital. So,
what is the top tip that you've gotten? Have you spoken to anybody who's gone through chemo before and gone, you know, like these are? I mean, it's different for everybody, but is there something that you're a little bit more aware of or anticipating?
a friend who did it as well, who did the chemo as well, and but he did it about 20 years ago, so he's kind of like, it was different for him back then and he doesn't really remember it too well. So I'm not too sure. And everyone's different. I'm reading stuff online. People are saying that they haven't felt any nausea or they've had headaches or some people have had different things. So, and they did say to me in the hospital, like everyone takes it different. It's about how you're going to figure out what works for you. Not taking too much. If you take too much anti-nausea, you get like constipated and stuff like that. So you have to make sure you're not relying on them either. So just doing it like that at the moment, just kind of, the hydration is definitely a thing. Trying to make sure you eat, even if you don't feel like eating. If you eat it, you generally will start to get energy out of it and feel better. So it's still early days. Yesterday was a big day. I had to go back in for bleomycin it's called BEP, bleo. I can't remember the other two, but the bleomycin seems to be the strongest on me for some reason. So I got that yesterday, left, and then for about 3 hours last night was just kind of in the horrors, just sitting there riding the nausea wave for about 3 hours. And then once you take the anti-nausea, if you don't take it before you feel nauseous, it doesn't really work properly. You kind of just get nauseous then. So you have to kind of, and I think it was because I was dehydrated yesterday too. The more liquid you have on, the more you'll urinate and the more you'll pass the chemo out of your body. So it seems to be a bit better when you...
So it's not actually one chemical. Chemotherapy is not just one thing that goes into you. It's a multiple. It's
different. Yeah.
And are they dependent on what it is they're trying to target, or is it just the same?
Yeah, apparently the BEP is only for testicular cancer.
Oh,
The BEP
interesting.
stands for bleomycin. I can't remember them now. I can't remember the other two.
Mm.
I see the bags when they have them hooked up to the IV. I just see them. But even when you're getting the bags, they fill you up with so much liquid, you can actually feel it around your forehead and it gets all fuzzy.
Yeah,
So you're like reading the bags, but then you pass out and then you wake up and you kind of go, well, I don't remember what that was. It's already, the bag is gone. They've changed
yeah,
over to a new bag.
yeah,
Because it's something like, it's a bag of chemo, a bag of liquid, a bag of chemo, a bag of liquid, and then they
yeah.
flush you to get all that liquid back out. So you end up, I think my weight is 97 kg before, and then after chemo it's 101 kg in
Whoa.
liquid, and they just push that liquid out like then after. So
Like a sponge.
they just come in and give you a tablet that's a diuretic, and they're just like, you're just going to be going now, and you have to measure all your urine. You have to pour wee into bottles and tell them what you've got out of you, so they can say, grand, we know how much has gone out of your system, jump back on the scales there, you're
Yeah,
good now, you can go back to bed. So
yeah. Oh my God, it's such a like it's and people talk about counting calories. You've got to count your piss.
literally, yeah.
I'm really, really grateful for you doing this, like, and talking about it, and I think it's so important. And I love your courage, and I know people probably tell you this all the time, but you've got exactly the mindset that anybody going through anything like this would need. Have you always been this positive?
I don't know whether I'm positive. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. I don't know. I kind of feel there's no point in being negative. You know, talking to the nurses, they were like, "You're doing well. It's your first week. Most of it's mental. Like if I'm gonna dread going in there and literally be dragging my heels every single day, it's gonna be really long." So you know, even with my wife texting me, if I'm halfway through the week, she's like, you know, you've only got the following amount of bags to go. You've only got the following amount of hours to go. You'll be home at this time Friday. We can do this, and it's like, yeah, you're right. So instead of going in and dwelling on the negative and kind of, it just doesn't work. I can't do it like that. I've never really been kind of that negative way. I
Yeah,
don't know. It's just easier to say, well, look, this is happening, so figure it out. Just get over it, and move on. So
yeah. No, it's really refreshing to see that you have that optimism about you. And I know there's probably times when you're like, ugh, not this. But you know, it for the most part, do you benefit from having that positive mindset, because you're able to see it not just as this is my life, but this is something we need to do in order to get to the next point.
yeah, it's exactly. And like it's easy when you're in the hospital as well, because there's older people in there, and there's people who are worse than you. There's people who don't have, like, my cancer is seminoma, which is a slow growing, non-aggressive, which responds quite well to chemo.
Yeah.
Some people might be prostate cancer, might be some other type of cancer, and they're kind of going, well, I'm doing the chemo and then I'll see what happens after this. I'm not too sure. Whereas my urologist is kind of, or oncologist is like, you'll be grand. We'll just do this, and you know, you should be grand.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's optimistic. And he's like, as well as that, you know, you're young enough, you can handle it. There's a woman at the end of the hall. She's got to be in her like 70s, and she's just asleep all the time. And obviously, because she's older, it's definitely got much more of an effect on her. Whereas I'm kind of going, is that the end of the chemo today? They're like, yeah, well, I'm off for a walk. I'll see you in a few hours. And I can go out. Where she has to just stay in that bed all the time. So maybe I'm optimistic when I see stuff like that, because I'm just like, I don't have it that bad. It's not that bad at all. It's just a bit of crap I got to go through right now. So
yeah, and it's important that we talk about the fact that, you know, seminoma. Mine was pure classical seminoma. Is that what yours one was?
I think, I'm not too sure. They just said good news. It's not non-seminoma. It's seminoma.
Yeah,
that's all they told me. So
yeah, that was the good news for me as well. I was like, okay, great, yeah. But then I was like, how long has it been there? But it is great. What kind of shocked me, what was kind of interesting, I was coming up to the year of me finding it, and then I went on to the year of my having, there's like these mini milestones, right, in this whole process. The year finding it, the year of having the surgery, and it was the week that I was going through it was a year since I had surgery that I found out that you had been diagnosed. And it's just, I mean, I'd never really known anybody who had testicular cancer until I had it. And then suddenly a year down the line, I'm like, you know, somebody who I grew up with, somebody who, you know, is a, you know, very close family friend for years, is just having it. It's just, it's quite bizarre that within a year we were both dealing with the same type of cancer.
Yeah. And I said that to my urologist, and he was like, "You guys don't work in the same work environment or anything." He was freaking out. And he was like, "It's quite rare, and you know somebody. Maybe it's something to do with the dual carriageway that separates our states or something like that."
Well, your mother looked after me when I was a child, so what was she feeding us? I'm joking, Kate, if you're watching. I'm joking. But listen, I really, really, really appreciate you doing this. And I'm sure everybody in your circle of friends and beyond will benefit from just hearing this story. If you were to say anything to anybody out there in the world about their testicles, what would you say to them right now?
I mean, obviously, the obvious one is to check it. If you can check it and find the tumor, it's quite easy to remove it. Then early enough, you don't have to do the chemo or anything. And as you know, just having it removed it's not the worst. Like, but you know, you won't have to do the chemo. The chemo is pretty bad so far. But yeah, if you could just identify it there and stuff and get it into immediately. And like, that was a weird thing. Going to see the doctor was kind of like, I'm gonna have to drop my bags here, and this is gonna be a bit uncomfortable. But once the ball got rolling and we had to investigate more, you know, you were just taking your pants off whenever, just go, yeah, no problem. Where do you want me? I'll be over there. You know, it just became easy. You get used to it. So
yeah, and you definitely just said when the ball got rolling, and I love how many ball puns there are in the world. But yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I guess my first interaction with the doctor was a girl, and I do you know what? This point now, I'd get them out for anybody. I don't really care. Like, if it's going to save a life, you really would just drop everything. And it gets to the point where you do just treat it like this thing that needs to be removed from your body. Like, if it was your arm, you wouldn't be hiding it away. You would just be like, this needs fixing, fix it.
yeah.
So we kind of just, you desexualize it eventually, and you're like, it's just a testicle, it needs to go. And it's an interesting process, and I wouldn't discount the whole adventure, like journey, whatever you want to call it. It's certainly a mental journey to go on, and already you've done so much that probably you're just so, like, just one after the other. And I think with the tiredness and everything, I think it's really important that you not only give yourself time to relax and recuperate and recover, but also when you've got the energy, throw your hand over your shoulder and give yourself a good pat on the back, because I think everybody watching this right now, everybody who watches it afterwards, you know, they obviously wish you well, but you know, you're sitting here, you're talking about it, you're raising awareness whilst you're getting yourself well. And I can only say it to you now because I know how powerful it was for me to receive people saying that to me. And yeah, thank you for doing it.
No, but it's you know, just to like you said, to raise awareness is definitely, that's what I'm doing, just to save somebody having to go through this as well. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Listen, Owen, it's been a joy. I mean, I wish we weren't just catching up because of your ball or our balls, but you know, I'm so grateful for you doing this. And we're not just talking about testicular cancer here. We're talking about your mental health, your physical health. Check with yourself, know your body. And if you get to the point where something is not right, please go and do what we say and get it checked, and it'll be worth it in the end. Don't be afraid of the result. Just make sure you get to the result quicker so that you can do something about it faster.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because it's quick. Apparently, it spreads quite quick. Can't remember what my wife was telling me. There's like, mine was 10 millimeters in size, so I think we're thinking maybe it's been there for a year and it's already made its way to the lymph nodes. So that's quite fast. So
my oncologist told me that the minute a cell begins to mutate, so the minute it starts to become a cancerous cell, there's 5 months until it probably becomes a bit of an issue. So if you catch it within that early time of within that 5 months, the chances of you becoming really unwell or it spreading anywhere where it started are really low. But I mean, it could be longer than 5 months, but you've got about 5 months to do something about it. So that gives you a lot of scope when it comes to checking your testicles. Because if you did it once a month and you notice something different,
Yeah.
then you've got time, you know. But yeah, I think mine was. I'm not sure actually. I should probably. I got a letter off the doctor today, and it said it on it, and I should have read it. But I get so much correspondence from that woman. She emails me all the time. Yeah, I should have checked it, but I think mine was a lot smaller than 10 millimeters. I think mine was 4. Hey, size doesn't matter, Owen. It's not about size, okay?
Well, it's gone now anyway. It's in an incinerator now, so.
It's not in a jar at home. I
No,
do
they
want to
wouldn't let me
ask
keep
you,
it.
though, real quick before I let you go, because I'm in the process of meeting with urology again, because they're talking about the prosthetic. And at the time of my surgery, I thought, if they take one out and put one in, grand, yeah, fine. I won't. I'll have one with a bell on it, or it glows in the dark, or whatever. But the fact that they've closed me up and they're like, we'll do it down the line. Have you thought about it? Have they talked to you about it? Is it even something that's crossed your mind?
The option was there on the day of the surgery. They were like, we'll just pop one out and pop one in. And then on the day, I said, no, I don't want the prosthetic in there, just because I'd read stuff online. People were like, it's like quite foreign. It feels hard. Like it definitely feels like there's something weird in there. So I just thought, like, there's no point. I don't think at the time I was in a mindset of I've got something bad in me that I need out. And if I wake up seeing, I kind of wanted just to see it gone.
Yeah.
So if I need it down the line, then yeah, I can go for it. But I was just kind of just wanted it out, and that was all I was kind of worried about. Even when I was asking the doctor, he was like, he came back out and he was like, I see you've decided not to get it now. Is there any reason? I just said, just I've read some things. I think it might be uncomfortable or whatever. He just said that's fine, and they went ahead with the surgery. So I'm grand. I definitely haven't noticed it. Like it doesn't bother me only having the one.
Yeah.
It's just quite normal now. It's just back to, maybe it's unique. That's it.
Well, exactly. And there's quite a lot of us out here. But when you stand side on in the mirror, as I'm sure you have, because I did, you've got one, and you turn the other way, and you've got one, and you can't notice it.
No, you don't really notice it too much. It's weird. You'd have to be really investigating me to find out. And I don't think if you're going to the swimming or something like that and changing, no one's really going to notice. So
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, you're happily married and you've got a loving wife, and I'm sure she won't miss it.
No, that's her thing. She was like, I don't care about your balls. I really don't care.
Quickly as well, did you have to do any did they do anything about your fertility? Because when I did it, I never even thought in my life that I would want to have children. It wasn't even something that crossed my mind. But as soon as somebody says, we're going to check and see if we can get some out of you to put aside and blah, 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 I was very aware of, I was like, oh, okay, let's do that. Did they do anything with that for you?
This just before doing the chemo, they said like, yeah, you're going to want to do the chemo could make me infertile.
Yeah.
So they were saying you want to do some sperm banking. I decided not to because me and my wife decided a long time ago we did not want to have kids. So they just did a kind of double take. They're like, you sure? You're only 35, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I'm good. So yeah, there's a chance that it could make me infertile. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But we have the dog. We're very happy with just us.
You've got a fur baby. You're fur parents.
So we're kind of we're pretty selfish. We like to just go on our random holidays whenever we want.
Yeah.
We like our weekends to ourselves. We always think if we had kids and had to do things, we'd be I'd say we'd argue all the time, and we'd just be like, I just like having the freedom to do whatever. You know, she'll look on Airbnb and say, look, there's a cabin going in Kerry. You want to just drive down on Friday and we'll stay there for the weekend? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we like that. We like that kind of spur of the moment.
We're so alike. I mean, kids just get in the way, don't they?
Yeah.
let other people have the kids. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just easier just having, I can't imagine being hungover and having to look after kids. So, hangovers are bad enough. So
I don't drink and I still can't imagine having to do it. So, whatever. Thank you, Owen. I'm going to let you go. This has been amazing. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so grateful that you're well. Please keep us informed on your journey, because it will help other people. And I really, really, really can't wait to see you and give you a big old fucking bear hug and hug it out when you're all done and you're all healthy and well, and cancer is a thing of the past.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. In the new year, it's going to be, that's the way I'm looking at it. New year, new kind of life. No cancer anymore, hopefully. And
Yeah,
yeah, so
for sure. It's coming. It is absolutely coming. Thank you. Thank you so much. You can
no probs.
you're free to go. Thank you so much to
Cheers.
everybody for joining us here on Live at 5 with Eoin, talking about his testicular cancer journey and indeed his chemotherapy journey, which he is currently going through. Have a good Tuesday evening. Please look after yourself, look after your mind, speak to those people that you love dearest, check in with them, make sure they're okay, and remember, don't just check them, check your own balls too, because that is important. Don't be afraid to do it, because knowing is better than not knowing. Thank you so much to everybody who jumped in and left a comment. We've got Amy saying well done lads, we've got William Congo Marzagram, I love it. George saying Owen, wishing you the best for your treatment and recovery. You've got this. That was George, who was with us last week. Ashling, good man Owen. Hugh Mohi said big round of applauses. Absolutely, all of that. Amy, Nick, we've got Colin Anderson, we've got Fiona, Brown Bear, Gavin, Angie, classic Brian. Yeah, we had a little chat about Brian. Keith, Paul, somebody's village joined. A village. Kira, Santos, Joseph, good to see you, man. Sam, we had Mr. Keith and Lou, Paul, George. Lots of you. Chancer, Kev, Leah, Hugh, Jen, Rachel, Stephen, Kumo, Taff, and of course Owen as well. Have a good evening. Thank you so much, and please keep up to date on all things Coaching the Man. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter, and I will see you very, very soon. Thank you.